Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stan Forrester. I'm your instructor for NS115, Introduction to Astronomy. And we have the night sky set out for July 9th, 2025. And once again, I want to encourage you as we go through all of this material and all of these readings and looking things up on the internet, that just take a break. Just go outside, take a look up, see what you can see. Okay, so right now we have our night sky set up for Albany, New York. We're facing south. We're facing south and looking upward. Okay, and over here you can see that there's this teapot shape. This teapot shape right there. We call that an asterism. Now, that asterism is an apparent pattern in the sky that we can see. For instance, if we were to come over here, we would see this sort of, it almost looks sort of like a hammerhead shark, but the Greeks imagined that to be a scorpion, and so this is an asterism that the Greeks would have called Scorpius. Now, one thing to keep in mind, the usage by astronomers and the usage in popular language is that pattern in the sky. For the popular use is the constellation. For an astronomer, it's a defined space, defined area on this imaginary celestial sphere. Think of them like counties on a state map. Okay, any star falling inside this area here will be labeled Sagittarius. Now, we're all familiar with nomenclature like Sagittarius Alpha, Sagittarius Beta, and so on and so forth. Okay, that would mean the order of brightness of the stars, a descending order of brightness in the constellation Sagittarius. Here would be Scorpius. Of course, we have this star right there. Sorry, I've got a phone call. All right. Now, right above Sagittarius and Scorpius, we have this orange line here. This is called the ecliptic. This is the apparent path of the sun across the sky. Now, when we were to say that the sun is in Scorpio or is in Sagittarius, we mean that, of course, we wouldn't be able to see these stars because it'd be daylight and these stars would be drowned out by the brightness of the sun. But off we would go, and that's where it is, and it just slowly advances through the year that way. Now, if we take a look up here, we see there's another line here. This is a blue line. This is a blue line. This is a projection of the Earth's equator outward onto this imaginary celestial sphere. Now, you'll notice that they're not the same. So the apparent path of the sun across the sky and the Earth's equator don't match up, which is something we just studied. We just studied the Earth's axial tilt. So let's come over here, and you'll notice that there's a spot where the ecliptic and the celestial equator cross. This would be the vernal equinox, and the other one would be the autumnal equinox. Okay, in other words, the days of equal light and darkness. And just beyond this, I think we've already missed it. Okay, remember, things are going to set in the west. Okay, Mars will have already set by this time. And if we come over here, things will be rising in the east, and sometime around midnight, Saturn will be rising. Okay, and so you can take a look at both of those. Now, okay, so we're looking directly south. Let's go upwards and see what we can see. Okay, we have our old friends here. Here's Altair. Okay, so let's say we're looking upward from the southeast direction. Here's Altair. It's part of the constellation Rega, the Eagle. Here's Vega, part of the constellation Lyra. And here's Deneb, which is part of, well, I wonder why that isn't labeled. That one should be labeled. Okay, Deneb is part of Cygnus, the swan. If we come over here, we can see these it's almost very graceful swan-like shape here, swan wing-like shape. And here's the body of the Cygnus, the Swan, and here's its neck and head. Remember, the neck and head go into the center of the summer triangle. That helps us navigate a little bit. Let's go ahead and let's review. We're going to go north. We're going to be turning north now. As I'm facing north, I'm going to see Cassiopeia here. Again, Cassiopeia is lying in her couch. She's looking toward the North Celestial Pole. Again, the North Celestial Pole and Polaris are not in the same location. Okay? But the Polaris is currently our pole star. If you can find Polaris, you generally found north. Here's our Big Dipper. Again, the Big Dipper is an asterism, but it is also a defined area. Well, the Big Dipper is not a constellation. Ursa Major. Now let's come down here. Let's just turn that on. We can see here's the tail of the bear, and here's the body of the bear. So Ursa Major as a defined area on the celestial sphere is going to be much larger than just the Big Dipper itself. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off. Okay, and then we would follow these two N stars to Polaris. We would take a look at, and there's a tree here that we've projected a tree in the middle of Leo, so we can't see the very irritated lion there. Okay, we can follow the arc though, arc of the handle, and we're going to arc to Arcturus and spike to Spica, and that's going to be the constellation Virgo. Again, it's on the ecliptic. Most of the ones that people are familiar with are the ones that are on the ecliptic because we call those the zodiac. Okay, well, that's 7 minutes. That's probably a little bit longer than I had intended. So let's go ahead and get this recorded and off for you guys to take a look at.